everybody. Welcome back once again to the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. I'm your host, Gene Jackson, coming to you from always as Retro... Let me start that over. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. I'm your host, Gene Jackson, coming to you as always from the Retro Wrestling Archive in Gadsden, Alabama, along with producer Smokey, who's making it happen behind the scenes. Before we get this thing going, we've got to welcome my co-host. First up, he's your favorite podcaster's favorite podcaster. It's Josh Briley from P3 Radio. What's up, Josh?
Man, living the dream, Gene. How's it going with you?
I'm doing a little better, man. I got sick day after Thanksgiving. I woke up I was running a fever and hacking and coughing and congested and all that nonsense. And my wife had some medicine left over that she had from a few weeks ago, and it was good stuff. Had some codeine in it, so I got loaded up on that. And
oh wow, you was on the
wane and different thing. Yeah,
you swinging and swerving.
When we get to the third episode of the WCW podcast on Chi-Town Rumble, bear that in mind that I'm loaded with all sorts of cold medications and codeine and this and that. So I haven't had the courage to go back and preview any of that yet. It may be great or it may be the worst thing that has ever happened to podcasting. We shall see. But speaking of the worst thing to ever happen to no, I'm just kidding. Here we go. Let's bring on our other co-host. He's the owner, founder, and president of STSpod.club, and he's currently Jonesboro, Arkansas's favorite resident. Spoiler alert, it's Brian Trammell. What's up, BT?
Man, what an intro. Jeez, man. Gene, I give you a good intro in WTF. Come on. Brother Gene, Brother Josh, let me see. Get Buck. I'm live from Jonesboro, Arkansas, as y'all guys know, and I feel like Snow White with a house full of gay little people. I just want y'all to know that. It's my best friend Gene and my favorite host of P3 Radio. Brought to you by Jolly Royal Furniture. Open a new account or open that old account. You know, a lot of you probably still have an old Jolly Royal Furniture account. Give us a call. We'll open that up. And also brought to you by Arm Twist Shine. Get your order in for Arm Twist Shine. Hey, man, I got a note real quick I wanted to say. I should have said this before we got started, but I got some notes from a guy by the name of Rob Helt. Make sure I pronounce his last name.
Yeah, I did
Helt.
Too. So
okay, he had something interesting to say. So he's in Dallas, and he's 16 years old. The Memphis stuff, he said, smartened him up. He lived in Dallas in 1991 and went to the Sportatorium and other shows. And he finally got smartened up when people were sending him USWA tapes from Memphis. And he just gave us a big thumbs up, enjoyed us, run the shows and everything. And then he sent us some notes too about what was going on in Dallas at the time. But we will say the phrase off the rails, probably. Gene will a couple of times during this show. He sent me some notes, and yes, we'll be going off the rails probably. I also want to tease that Jerry Lawler will be on the episode 250 this coming week, Saturday, on Memphis Wrestling. And they used, the reason I said this is that they used Burt Prentice's voice in the promo videos to introduce Jerry Lawler, which I thought was really cool. And we got a Jerry Lawler Patreon story that no one's ever heard. So it'll be fun. We got pictures and everything. So I can't tell it on the main feed because we have to kayfabe right now, but I'm able to tell it on the Patreon.
So did Dustin spring for Josh to do Burt Prentice on his show? Is that his
voice? I'm glad you said it, Gene, because it was fucking killing me. I'm going to say, well, how'd y'all go about getting a hold of Burt?
I just hear Josh's phone ring. Hey, Josh, it's Dustin from Memphis Wrestling. Hey, we need you to do Burt Prentice. And you're like, how much? He's like, oh, don't worry. I got that sponsor money.
I popped, man. I popped big time. It was from his... what was it called? USWA? No,
USA Championship Wrestling.
Yeah. It was from that. He had introduced Lawler, I think, for Lawler's retirement match or something.
Oh, God. Yeah, there had to be hours of that to use because he brought Lawler in every other week, it seemed like. So
I popped
yeah,
big for it. I was like, "Oh, it's Bert," and I had to tell y'all about it. And everybody that listens to the podcast, everybody that listens to our podcast, both seasons of this USWA know how much of a big fan we are. I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but I'm into Bert Prentice book.
Oh, I was going to send you a copy so you could find that out, but
yeah.
I don't have to.
I'll have to look.
Yeah,
up
I heard
that
from Rob Helt as well, and I actually had notes here, like right as you said that. I was about to read a note, but no, that's fine because what y'all talked about was a little different. But and this is something we'll go into more later. But he was saying how we were lucky. The people who were on the Memphis end of things were lucky because we got to see the blow off to all these storylines. Because in Dallas, they've watched these storylines build, and then all of a sudden they show up one week and USWA is not there anymore. And there's a note on the door that says "Coming soon, Global Wrestling Federation on June 21st." So
yeah, he sent that to me too. Crazy.
I can only imagine how well that went over with people, and then but that's something we can talk about when we get into June here, but. Right now, we're going to head back to May 18th, 1991 for an episode of USWA Championship Wrestling. Dave Brown and Michael St. John are both with us this week and kind of give us a rundown of what to expect. And our main event is going to be Dr. Tom Pritchard and the Dirty White Boy, Tony Anthony, taking on Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert and Brian Christopher. And the minute they said that, I had to pause the show and look to make sure I had clicked the right one because I'm like, we ain't seen Brian Christopher in weeks, and he's all of a sudden in a main event tag match with Eddie Gilbert. But no, this was the right one. So not really sure how that come to pass, but I'm happy we're starting down that path slowly but surely now. And we also hear that Eddie Marlin is going to have an announcement about a controversial ending to last week's Loser Leaves Town Southern Heavyweight title match. And if there's ever been an understatement, that being controversial is definitely that. So buckle up, folks. This is going to be one of the more storyline heavy episodes we've ever covered, and this is going to prove that that's not always a good thing. It's good to have a lot of storylines, but they need to be good. They need to have some rhyme or reason to them. Shit's about to get convoluted as hell. Get ready. Opening match, Ben Jordan taking on Rob Golden. I found it ironic that last week, Ben Jordan fell into the opening match by accident because Steve Kern didn't make it to the studio on time. But this week, I guess maybe they must have been happy with the way that turned out because they're opening the show with Ben Jordan. You know anything about this newcomer, Rob Golden, guys?
I'd never heard of him.
Yeah, I'd never, but he looked real like he was one of the local outlaw guys. Yeah. He looked real familiar. And then with Jack Diamond on this show again, he might have come in with Jack because Jack worked all these outlaw shows in this area. So that's what I'm thinking. Ben Jordan, just want to make a note. He got a big pop from the crowd. Did y'all hear that? I was like, geez. Speaking of big pop, are you going to show that clip?
Oh, yeah, we're going to show the clip. We'll get there in just a second. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, that maybe after the good match he had last week and the reaction he's getting from the fans, they're like, well, hey, let's see if we can do something with this kid. And they throw him in here with this Rob Golden, but I'm the same way. Rob Golden, the whole time I'm watching this match, like, man, he looks familiar, but I can't place him. But I know I don't know the name Rob Golden.
No, if there's anybody out there, there's probably somebody out there that did the outlaw stuff more than I did. I could probably ask Bill about it, a Rush, to see if he remembers who Rob Golden is. But I had a suspicion of who it was, but I can't get a real good, clear look at his face.
Well, all right. Well, let's take a look. And if you're listening, let's listen to this clip of Ben Jordan taking on Rob Golden.
Got him with the drop kick right under the chin.
Yeah, he got a good one on him that time. Golden made a good move a moment ago as Ben Jordan was coming over for the cover. He turned so he couldn't get his shoulders down. There's a count of two. He got it.
Golden may be out, catching that drop kick right on the chin. Boy, that's like a right hand from Mike Tyson. Ben Jordan getting the victory.
Yeah, I think he did knock him out. He didn't even struggle much. Referee Paul Neighbors is there checking. Ben Jordan gets the win, and a good one here. The time on it, 2 minutes, 11 seconds of action. We've got referee Paul Neighbors is going to attend to him. Calling for Eddie Marlin to get some help. They're going to...
Dang!
Wow. I mean, I've seen guys put out with sleeper holds that didn't sell it that well. When he tried to pick him up off the mat, he wasn't going anywhere.
He was down.
Ben Jordan dropped down, pinned him. You could see it you could see it on his face as he was leaving the ring, even after having his hand raised, that he was like, "Oh shit, I hope that guy's okay." I didn't really think a whole lot of it. I mean, we went to pick him up. I was like, "Yeah, he's out of it." Man, when they put the camera back on him and his hand was in this like that weird position off to the side over there, and you could kind of see this panic look on Paul Neighbors' face. I was like, "Uh-oh, this may be worse than we think here."
That's the kind of shit that you see whenever a dude like in UFC or something gets really hit really fucking hard and they'll contort and everything else. Yeah, I think this is the first time that we've seen that on reviewing any of the Memphis stuff so far. And dude, I had to try to rewind it again and catch it. He got him right on the chin. That is,
it was a glass chin. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was just one of those, someone uppercutted you and hit you in the chin. You just went boom. He was out, man. He was out.
I'll be interested to see if we see any more Rob Golden in the future. I
That's what I thought too.
We've never seen him before, so your theory on him coming with Diamond makes a lot of sense. So that's probably it. Maybe a one and done, or who knows? He may be back next week. You never know.
He may really like coloring books now. You never know.
Yeah,
I like to color.
He might have to do the wheelchair gimmick like Troy Graham did at this point. But so next,
he would have a see and say though. That would...
We get a very special guest, if you know what I mean. Let's bring him out right now. All right. So next we see a video replay of the Steve Keirn versus Dr. Tom Pritchard loser leaves for 30 days match. It's a no disqualification match. At one point, referee Paul Neighbors gets knocked down. Eric Emery sneaks in with a chain, nails Keirn. Pritchard pins him. Neighbors is still groggy. Keirn, despite being cheated, he must leave town for 30 days. So we got another promo from Steve Keirn here.
He won't leave.
Every week we say he's done, and then he shows back up. So even after he's left for 30 days, he's going back on our screen with one more promo, and he acknowledges the 30-day forced absence, and puts over, he's going to be in Florida and all the stuff you expect him to say, and then he says Pritchard's going to be hearing in his head, Keirn's coming. So he's saying he's going to be back. Will he? I don't know, but we shall see.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, but it's going to keep a little bit of air of mystery there. And y'all don't have to listen to BT when he says he don't think so, because BT's been saying for 6 weeks that this is the last time we're going to see Steve Keirn. He shares it next week.
I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
And if he does or doesn't come back, I promise you it has nothing to do with that goddamn stipulation match whatsoever.
Nothing to do with it. Well, he doesn't start with WWE very shortly after this.
Yeah, he starts chewing tobacco very regularly. Not long from now.
Yeah, I thought
so. Bear in mind, people, that on the show, we didn't show it here, but on the actual show, we just saw a clip from a match last Monday night at the Pipkin building, which proves there were cameras there and they were recording. They recorded a match between Tom Pritchard and Steve Keirn. But somehow, some way, the Southern Heavyweight title loser leaves town match didn't get recorded, or B, someone purposefully destroyed the footage, because it would have been on the same tape as the other matches, right? Not like everyone recorded on its own separate tape, but somehow there's no footage of this next match. I felt like I needed to clarify that before we move into all this, because you listening or watching at home, when you hear them say there's no footage, you can be like, but we just saw footage from that match, and we're going to see more footage from other matches as well. Eddie Marlin comes out and explains Jamie Dundee's absence, saying he gave him an extra week off. I'm assuming to get his story straight on how he's just going to come out here and cut a promo and write off the past several weeks of heel JC Ice, because we've let it be known here that he has reconciled with Bill Dundee, and Eddie Marlin thought he was coming this week to do it on TV, but he said he had give him another week. And so I guess, like I said, I guess even Jamie, as good as he is at talking, is like, wait a minute, I got to figure out how to how this exactly make people believe it. But remember, it's Memphis, Jamie. You really ain't got to try that hard. So then we get to last week's match between superstar Bill Dundee and Eric Embry. And I know we talked, if you listen to the last episode, I know we talked about it there, but in case you didn't, they have this match where, loser leaves town for 30 days. The Southern Heavyweight title's on the line. And even though there's not footage of it, what we understand by everyone who explained it, except for Bill Dundee, Eric Embry pinned Bill Dundee. Somehow, we don't have footage, so we don't know. But we know that Paul Neighbors was selling being groggy at the end of the Pritchard and Kern match. And for some reason, he refereed this match too. Probably because he was the only referee there that night, if I had to guess. But anyway, somehow after Pritchard is pinned, or Bill Dundee's pinned by Eric Embry, the referee raises Bill Dundee's hand and declares him the winner of the match. And all hell's broken loose now because Dundee says he won. Embry says he won, except Embry's actually telling the truth. Let's watch this clip of this meeting. Eddie Marlin said, well, what I did is I got everybody in my office for a meeting to hash this thing out. And he said, we need to figure out a way to resolve this, because if we leave it up to the USWA board of directors, it'd be probably 3 months before they figure this thing out. What's there to figure out? There's no goddamn
3 months.
You just have to talk to all the people that saw what happened, which is everybody in the Pipkin building, including the announcers. Why this is so convoluted?
Well,
and just
they have to. It's old school, Gene. They can't just send a file. One board member's got to review the footage at his home. Then he's got to go get an envelope and put the tape in, mail it to the next board member. After it runs the cycle of it could have fucking 20 board members. It'll take 3 months.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks for explaining. You're right. You're right.
That's what me and DT was both looking forward to, was hearing you help explain this away from a fan perspective. So that's perfect. Now let's sit in on a little bit of this meeting that we got like 2 minutes and 43 seconds of it, but it felt like the whole thing lasted like 20 minutes. I know it didn't, but holy fuck. But anyway, check this out.
I know you had to call a meeting this past week. There was a controversial ending to a match in which Eric Embry was going against Bill Dundee. The actual winner of the match was Eric Embry, and yet Bill Dundee had his hand raised. So with the 30-day leaving the USWA rule, that left some kind of confusion. At first, you just wanted to schedule another match right there, right?
Well, if you roll the tape there, it'll explain everything. Sort of getting by some red tape, I'd say, if you show the tape.
Let's take a look at the meeting which occurred just a few days ago.
Eddie Marlin, why are we here? Why did you give me a bed and him and me sit and look at him? Why are we here? I won the match.
Bill, let me explain to you, let me explain to Eric, and also the referee needs to be standing here. The match had a disputed decision. Now, it was an important match. Whoever lost the match would have to leave USWA for 30 days.
Wait. How do you get disputed decision? I pinned his shoulders 1, 2, 3.
That's right, Eric. But the referee counted his shoulders out. The referee was knocked down. He raised his hand up. Bill Dundee says he had you.
That makes me the winner, doesn't it?
No, wait a minute, Bill. Now, let me explain to you. If it stands as it is right now with his appeal to the USWA, it'll take 3 to 4 weeks for a final decision. All right? You say that you had him pinned. They interfered.
I did.
All right.
And this light was going to hit me on the head. You know.
No, I pinned your shoulders, Dundee.
No, sir.
Wait just a minute. He pinned your shoulders. Bill, I seen the
Yes.
match. Wait a minute now. I'm trying to get it straightened out where neither you nor Eric will have to leave the USWA on a disputed decision. If it was clear cut 1, 2, 3, I don't care which.
What was it? It was clear. I pinned it 1, 2,
Well, wait
3.
just a
Your
minute.
goofy Tennessee referee
Now, wait
is
a
the
minute.
one that made a mistake. He come over and raised the wrong
Let me
hand.
tell you
Just show the tape of the match, and it's clear, cut, and dry.
Well,
I win, you leave.
No,
Dundee.
we don't have a tape of the match.
Why? Whoa. Why isn't there a tape of the match? You got tapes of everything, man. That's all you got to do. Your Tennessee referee was sleeping in the ring. Now take your Tennessee cameraman, get him to show the tape. It'll show me pinning your shoulders to the mat. 1, 2, 3.
Then I want to show me standing in the middle with my hand raised, so that makes me the
raising
winner.
his hand.
The tape will show him being a goof.
We have no tape, Eric.
Where's the
That's the
tape?
reason. I don't know where
God, no tape.
Just wait just a minute. That is the reason we're trying to have this meeting. Do you want to leave the USWA on?
And it just goes on from there. And on and on. This is one of the longest, most chaotic segments we've seen on USWA. I love how at the beginning when Dave tries to broach the subject, Eddie Marlin's like, just show the tape. Like, it's like I'm tired of even trying to explain this nonsense because it's fucking stupid. What's crazy, guys? And you can try to manipulate this into making some kind of justifiable sense in kayfabedom if you want to. But Eddie Marlin himself, who's supposed to be the man in charge of USWA from a kayfabe perspective, said, yes, I saw you pin Dundee, Eric Embry, but Dundee got his hand raised. We've seen them ignore referees' decisions thousands of times in the USWA, and will continue to. But for some reason, in this one particular instance, this is the one time that nobody can dispute the referee unless we spend 3 weeks letting the board do it. But the only person who is saying that Dundee pinned Embry is Dundee. Everyone else agrees that Embry pinned him. Where's the fucking controversy? This is fucking stupid.
So stupid.
Make it make sense, Josh.
I gotta disagree with you, Gene. I understand why they're doing this because I mentioned just a little bit the last show, maybe Patreon or end of the show, I can't remember. But there was this big deal, and there are people now that still think that Greg the Hammer Valentine is a former WWF champion because of this exact thing that happened fucking 1980 or 81, whenever the fuck it was. And it was the deal. Fucking who was it? Backlund pinned Greg, 1, 2, 3. The ref was knocked silly or whatever. They both get up. He grabs Valentine's hand. He's the winner. He grabs the fucking belt and leaves. And they had to have this big match, and they made a thing of it. I'm more than positive that's where Embry got this idea, because he'd seen it done before. It was successful up there. He was going to try to mimic it or whatever. And yeah, sometimes things get convoluted or whatever. But as a fan, I loved it, because I
guess I'm just way too logical, because even as a kid, I was sitting in front of the TV going, this is fucking stupid. Everybody there knows Embry won. Where's the controversy? I agree with the spirit of what you're saying. I just think it was so poorly executed, it just comes off as fucking dumb.
I get what Josh is saying, but to be explained that's part of it not being controversial to me, and I get it. This kind of a dusty finish or prelude to dusty finishes, the way you leave thinking the fans leave thinking someone else won than did not win. I hated this meeting. I thought it was horrible. I got tired of hearing Embry. That's the reason we didn't get the full clip there. But at the very end, Dundee called Tojo a Jap. And I think he almost called Miss Texas the N-word. And it wouldn't be the first time I heard Dundee say the N-word, but we'll talk about that some other day. So,
but okay, here's the thing. So that deal you're talking about, Josh, Backlund's the champ, Valentine's the heel, right? But he's the one that it looked like he won, but he didn't.
The ref gets up and raises
the heel's hand.
Yes.
There's the key element of this fucking thing that doesn't make it work for fans. they raised the wrong hand. Nobody's going to Eric Embry's right in this situation. At least in the other scenario, they were, the guy, the champion, the good guy got done wrong. So that's why the fans invested. It's like, oh my God, this guy got screwed. We got to go see this be made. The good guy fucked the bad guy. The bad guy is the babyface here, which was essentially what makes this fucking dumb. I'm sorry, I'll argue. This is a hill I'll die on. It's fucking dumb to have the heel get screwed and have the babyface, the liar, who's trying to defend something that didn't really happen.
But this seems to be like a common formula with this whole thing now. This is the second time where there's deliberate heel shit done by Eddie Marlin and the Tennessee side and all that. And it's just like, well.
Just wait till next week, guys. The spoiler BT's got to tell you. Wait till next week's explanation of the main event. It's even worse than this one. So there we go.
Well, one thing I think hurts this too is now we're 3-4 weeks in a row where we're promising these big stipulations that we don't actually deliver on them. And that gets to be, as far as ticket sales, it gets to be like, well, I'll just wait and hear what stupid shit on TV they did. I ain't got to go pay money to watch it play out and ruin my Monday night. And I think that's a lot of what their problem was eventually. But I think we're starting to see a big flaw in Eric Embry's booking is when he was booking in Texas and he was the babyface, it was babyface booking. The hero kept coming out on top most of the time. And now that he's the heel in Memphis, we said in the early goings, like, all right, well, this is good. We got to build some heat. We got to put some wins behind him. But now he's putting himself in positions as the babyface while trying to be the heel. And it doesn't make sense. So I'm just interested to see where the hell we go from here. And hearing BT tease it, I'm scared to death of what the fuck it's going to be.
Do you think maybe because still at this point, the association with Dallas and Texas, maybe in his head, he thought this is footage that I can play there. And this will justify me and vilify me as the good guy in Texas or something. I'm trying to make it make sense.
I don't think they ever. I know you desperately want it to make sense for Eric Embry, but I'm sorry. This was so poorly executed. If they'd have done it in reverse and let Dundee and be the other way around, then I wouldn't like it, but I'd be like, okay, I get it. But having him win the match, even though I'm sure he cheated, win the match and then, that's the whole thing. Like if Eddie Marlin would have been like, man, I was taking a shit. I don't know what happened. He sits there and says, yes, Eric, I saw you pin Bill Dundee. And then Dundee's only argues, well, but it raised my hand. So, okay, he would have raised your hand if it had been a disqualification. Would that have meant you were the new champion? No. So anyway, we won't spend all day talking about that. There's going to be a rematch, but we'll hear about that a little bit later when we go over the card. So next up, we get a promo from Eddie Gilbert, and he is right in the middle of this feud with the Dirty White Boy, and this is one of his better promos that we've seen as a babyface, so we want to check that out right now, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
At the Pipkin building. Headed this way right now is Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, who's, looking good today. But thanks, sir, Dave. You've got to return or the continuation of that war with Dirty White Boy.
Yeah, Dave, past few weeks, too, if I could have everybody's attention out here and at home. Last few weeks, Dave, I've come out here a lot of times, as a matter of fact. I've kind of got a little irate. I've lost my temper a few weeks. I've screamed, I've yelled, I've made threats, pretty much that I've backed up. But at this time, I would like to take the time, if everyone up there, Director Howard and everyone will bear with me on this, I want to take a little time to explain something to everyone in Memphis, Tennessee, and around about Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. The past year, Dave, not only in my professional life in wrestling, but in my personal life, in the past year, I've kind of been to hell and back. And I've experienced a lot of things have happened to me. As everyone knows, that when I first came back here, the first person, the only thing that I had on my mind doing was getting rid of Jerry Lawler. Well, I want everyone to understand something real quick. I grew up here. This is when I was a kid. I'd go down to the Mid-South Coliseum every Monday night. I'd ride down there with my dad, sometimes my dad, Eddie Marlin, Jerry Jarrett. I just wanted to get close to the ring. I wanted to take pictures of the matches. I wanted to write wrestling stories. I wanted to be a wrestler so bad, get in the ring and be a wrestler. My dad instilled in me, and he taught me the ring. He taught me how to wrestle. But a secret that only a few people know, and I think you know, Dave, when I was growing up, especially when I got to be a teenager, a man, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to shock a lot of people, a man that I admired, a man that I wanted to be like, a man that I wanted to, whenever his day came to where he stepped aside, I wanted to take his place. That man is Jerry Lawler. Whenever I was growing up, I always said, someday I wanted to be the king. Whenever Jerry Lawler stepped aside, I wanted to take his place. I knew it wasn't going to be an easy task. I know now it's not going to be an easy task. But when I look around, we all know now that someday, not today, not tomorrow, not next month, and maybe not next year, but someday, Jerry Lawler will not be around here to wrestle. He's going to have other things to do. He's going to do his TV show. And I look around and I see two people that will have to take the burden on their shoulders, two people that will have to take the task of wrestling all the guys that come in here and want to take over the Memphis wrestling scene. And those two people, when I look around back there in the dressing room, are myself and Jeff Jarrett. Well, last Monday night at the Pipkin building, I took my first step in knowing what it's like to be a person like Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee and legends like Jackie Fargo and Jerry Jarrett and Eddie Marlin and my dad, because Tony Anthony jumped me before the match. Before the bell ever rung, he jumped me and he hit me with a chair. Oh yeah, it's happened to me before, Dave, nothing new. But he beat me, and he beat me, and he beat me, and he beat me in the head. And Howard, if you can get this camera come in close on my head right here, you can see that I had about 10 lacerations that was done Monday night to my head. And I want to say also to referee Paul Neighbors, I want all the people in Memphis that were there Monday night, I don't want any reflections on Paul Neighbors. He did what he thought was right. He stopped the match because he was worried about my health. I begged him time after time not to do it, but he did it. With Tony Anthony, I said last week, at one time I considered you a brother and a family member. Well, this coming Monday night at the Pipkin building, it's no stopping for blood. And I want to tell you right now, people, I know what my future is. I know the task I have. And I'm going to leave you with one saying, a saying that I learned from watching Jerry Lawler. Tony Anthony, you mess around with fire, brother, and you're going to get burned.
So I found that interesting because to my knowledge, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, that's the first time Eddie Gilbert has told like his honest to God backstory in a promo on television, right? The whole, growing up a fan of Jerry Lawler and all that kind of stuff. Or am I forgetting some other time that he's called upon that in that nature? Not like, well, I watched you as a kid and I want to knock you off, but more, that he inspired him and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say he may have alluded to some of that shit during that whole "This Is Your Life" Jerry Lawler thing that he did, but never like this was truthful, like you said, that you could tell like he was shooting, feller.
yeah, he was shooting on that. That was a real good promo. I really liked it. His head looked fucking horrible. Did y'all see that? Jesus Christ! And also he ended the promo as usual with something. It's like the whole promo is good, then we have to do that a whole fire comment. And I'm just like, well, it's not as bad as the other ones, but damn.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like somebody has drilled in his head that you always have to sign off a promo with a catchphrase of some sort or something. I don't know. It's off kilter from everything else you just said. But to me, this feels like the first true, sincere babyface promo we've got. We've gotten what felt like, all right, this is me. This is Eddie Gilbert trying to be a babyface, and the yelling and the this and that. But this seems like it's the first time he showed a side of himself that he wants people to like. Everything else has been, I ain't a good guy. I fuck these Texas guys. But now he's not fighting a Texas guy. He's fighting another Tennessee guy because Dirty White Boy was famously from Bucksnort, Tennessee. So I guess he decided he had to take a different approach. But I liked it. I thought it went over real well. So we'll see. We'll see how this feud with the Dirty White Boy continues to progress as we move along through it. Next up, we got a tag team match. Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller taking on Gary Scott and BT's former tag team partner, Jack Diamond. What did you guys think of this match?
I mean, I thought it was pretty good, but it wasn't like, anything to write home about or whatever. I mean, again, Fuller ends with that patented finisher, right?
Yeah.
With the old foot to the head, and that was it. I thought maybe it was a mistake last week. Maybe the match got fucked up. That was what we all thought, but no, he put the stamp on it this week. He's like, no, this is my finisher.
Strange finisher. I like the match. I got some with the Diamond being in there. I'm marking out because it was my buddy from high school. But I thought it was funny because he was running his mouth this time, and you could see he's added a little size from the off season, as they like to say, already a tan and a few pounds. So it was funny. By the way, I've got a tattoo with a barcode that, and I know this is morbid as fuck, but it has his death date as part of the number of the barcode there. So Jack was a real shoot friend of mine. I don't just bullshit about that. And also Gary Scott. Did y'all know who Gary Scott is?
The name rings a bell, but I can't place him.
I reached out to Brian Turner about this because I had put Gary Scott's name in. He was a jobber for WWE, but another name came up, and I was like, "Is that Gary? It's Gary Valiant."
Shit! That's why that sounds familiar. Okay.
Yeah. So, and also they made a note about them robes, which I thought was hilarious. That Michael St. John was getting excited about Jarrett's robe. Him and Dave Brown both was. So, look at that robe, man! Look at that robe.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you feel like somebody said, "Hey, put that robe over when he comes out." Okay?
Yeah.
We spent a lot of money on that.
He must not have got his car fixed from the wreck. He just spent the insurance money on new.
There you go.
Robe.
Hell yeah. The only thing I'm wondering, for years and years, famously, Robert Fuller's had a loaded boot. And, I would see if he was kicking the mat behind the referee's back right before they go into that spot, I would think, well, that's what they're selling, just the loaded boot. But he doesn't kick the toe of the boot or anything, so I guess it's just supposed to be just a really badass kick, I guess. But man, what a weird thing.
I view it almost as like being disrespectful. Anyway, it's all it takes to end your ass and lay my dick across you.
Yeah.
Because he makes sure to put his dick on whoever's face, like all the time.
That Tennessee hog meat's doing the work. I'm just laying them down on the mat. It does the rest. Bless their heart. Yeah, I don't ever see him pinning, Pritchard or Embry or even a Texas Outlaw with that kick combination there or something. But maybe that's what we're building to. In a key match, he actually does load the boot and use that to get a win. Maybe that's what's happening here. I don't know.
Pritchard's already got that whole loaded boot thing going on right now. Do you think that would almost be a no-no for Fuller? Right?
It would, except the fact that Robert's got his built into his boot, and Tom Pritchard has to wrap a slingshot around his toe or whatever. But yeah, it would be kind of overkill to have two of those. So that's probably a good point there. Pritchard appears at ringside afterwards and is mocking the champions there, talking shit, and suddenly they are ambushed by the masked assassins. No,
wait.
It's the Texas Outlaws, dressed exactly like every pair of masked assassins you've ever seen in your life. They come in and jump the guys, and eventually they make a big comeback. Jarrett's swinging a fucking chair like he's trying to literally murder them. And then Fuller cuts a heated promo saying he's going to send their ass back to Texas. But it's like, why wouldn't you at least call them the Texas Assassins, since they're dressed just like the Assassins always did? I mean, that's probably a nitpicky, stupid thing to talk about, but that's all I could think of when they hit the rings. Like, whoa, fucking Assassins. They're like, hey, it's the Texas Outlaws. Like, really?
It's like, man, Jody Hamilton's lost some weight. He's moving quick. Fucking,
I thought it was horrible, man. You didn't let the heels get any heat whatsoever. They got just a couple moves, and I mean that's the way you build for the Monday night show. I mean, you should have left Fuller and Jarrett laying, but by the way, it looks like it's David Price and Larry Wright under the hoods. So as the Texas
Okay, where was that in the Observer?
Yeah.
I remember reading that somewhere once, and I couldn't find where I saw it, because at some point it becomes, oh God, they were the Devil's Duo. Jeff Sword and what's the other guy's name?
Oh, fuck. The Barroom Brawlers.
Doug Vines, yeah. And it may not be till after, this may be David Price and Larry Wright the whole time, maybe. But I was thinking that the Outlaws get unmasked as those two, but maybe I'm wrong about that. And of course,
no, that's later on this year after something happens with the Barroom Brawlers.
Okay, so for people who are familiar with Memphis wrestling history up and through later times, VT, tell everybody who David Price is.
I have no idea.
You don't know who David Price is? All right, Josh.
Is he the announcer?
Is that not your guy from the interviews? Or is that another David?
No.
Yeah, who is it?
David Price is Motley Crue's.
Oh, I did not know that. I don't know him. I never knew his shooting.
We stumped BT for once.
Yeah, I was around. Yeah, he wrestles Flair, I think, as David Price in Kansas City. He wrestled a
shit ton of people as David Price. He was on a bunch of those
I don't
St. Louis shows at the.
Some guys I didn't even know their shoot names, because you work around them. There's a big long story about that, but me and Gene have talked about that before.
Well, it's funny though that this popped up because we just saw Larry Wright on some footage we did a watch along of, and we both pondered: did Larry Wright, like, how long had he wrestled before this? How long did he wrestle after this? So here he is popping up in 91. So
I'll reach out to Motley about that, see what he says.
All right. Next up, we got a video feature on a newcomer to the area, Hurricane Walker, and show some different highlights from Hurricane.
Can I tell y'all I was promoting a show. I was booking a show in Malden, Missouri. I don't know if I've told this on this podcast or not. And I'll tell you what the announcer and the promoter said about a guy that looked just like Hurricane Walker. Let's just say he told everyone that a good colored wrestler was coming into Malden, Missouri. So I just want everybody to know Hurricane Walker's here.
So that's how you're saying that's how he announced it as like a teaser.
He announced it over. Yes, he announced it over the intercom. There was 3 black people sitting in the crowd in the back of the crowd. I don't mean that as racist, but that's true. And I was booking, but I was a heel manager. I was sitting backstage and heard him say that and ran to the front of the building and grabbed the microphone and started cutting a promo. Then I said, "You can't fucking say that." But we had Derek King, Tattoo, Bishop. I've had all kinds of fun with those guys with that comment, talking to them about that. But you talking about wanting to dig a hole and get in, and I felt he's like, "You can't say that." Well, I wasn't going to say the N word, and I was like,
"And here's a big announcement for those 3 fans at the back of the room back there. You'll be excited to hear we have a colored wrestler coming in next month."
That's all I can think about.
And he's a damn fine colored wrestler. One of the best colored wrestlers there is out there. Check him out next month. Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Well, for what it's worth,
gender of racial relations.
For what it's worth, the Hurricane Walker promo video, it did one thing for me. It made goddamn Jimmy Backlund look like $1 million fucking dollars. He was, dude. He was so fucking good with every little thing. He made that motherfucker look like $1 million. And even with him gaining all that weight and becoming a heavenly body and all that, it didn't fucking matter. He was still as smooth. But dude, slim trim Jimmy Backlund, that was a badass motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ironic. It's when his body got to looking bad is when he became a heavenly body. The irony there is just...
By the way, just so we know, Hurricane doing that match with Scorpion, Michael St. John said, "Look at those legs." That's what he's Hurricane. Look at those legs.
That closet door just keeps cracking a little further open each and every week, it seems like.
Look at that robe. Look at them legs. Oh, baby.
I was waiting for him to jump out of it one of these days and say something completely, or Dave Brown's like, Jesus, come on now.
Go ahead.
That would be hilarious if we found out that's really why Curtis Thompson left the area. I couldn't deal with this shit anymore.
In our mind, that's why. Yeah, that's why. I got some Walker stuff after you cover everything he does here, so I got a few little tidbits here.
All right. Well, to Josh's point, we might should have brought Jimmy Backlund to Memphis for this match because match with the Scorpion was not. I mean, if you were trying to sell him for Monday night, you probably should have just shown that video and then let him do his segment out here, or probably not even do the segment, quite honestly. But you definitely didn't need this match. It didn't really do him any favors. I mean, he had a couple of bright spots in there, but not much. And so after the match, Miss Texas confronts Walker and
Tojo came and had his first speaking part of his run
of the year.
Far.
Yep.
And I remember him being a lot better on the mic. It was half of Tojo. He just didn't seem like he was very into it or something. I don't know. He's not vicious anymore or something. And I in my mind, I could feel that. And it's like, I almost think that's why Miss Texas snatched the mic and started doing her shit, was because she felt bad for Tojo. He wouldn't lighting that ass on fire like he usually would.
That's true. I mean, I heard Eric Embry say in an interview one time that he felt bad for Tojo. He knew the situation Tojo was in at the time, and he initially got him a job in Dallas, and which eventually rolled into the job in Memphis. So I think Tojo was just here because he needed to be, not because he wanted to be at this point. So I guess that's why I kind of feel like he's phoning it in. I don't think his health was it was any great health at the time either. And we know he won't be around a whole lot longer, unfortunately. But anyway, so Walker says something to the effect of, "Where I come from, women don't talk to men like that." Tojo ends up whacking Walker with a kendo stick. Again, not one of his most memorable kendo stick shots either. But the Texas Outlaw Assassins come running out and join in. Walker fires up and single-handedly takes all three of them until Dr. Tom comes storming out and challenges Walker. And this is how we get our match for Monday night. But they have a little bit of a skirmish there, and eventually Jarrett and Fuller hit the ring to even the odds. But we just thought the Assassins looked bad getting beaten up by Jeff Jarrett and Fuller after jumping from behind. But hell, Hurricane Walker was handling both of them along with Tojo and Miss Texas. So boy, we are not having a strong.
Man. They didn't get no heat.
We are not having a strong showing for the old Texas Outlaw Assassins, which is what I think I'll be calling them.
That's some dog catcher vibes, dude. Strong dog catcher vibes. Like,
we need a T-shirt, Texas Outlaw Assassins.
And
that's just that mask.
That's literally what they've mistakenly been calling the Texas Hangman for weeks now.
Yeah.
You notice that? They would call them the Texas Outlaws at least 3-4 times since they've been.
I could see Lawler being a smart ass. They're like kind of sitting around and making some decisions. They're like, well, I got these two guys. We can throw some masks on. What can we call them? Hell, call them Texas Outlaws. That's what Michael St. John's been calling the Texas Hangman the whole time they're here. Okay.
Walker only stays. I had a few notes about Walker.
No,
He
that's
actually
fine.
he worked WCW as jobs. I don't know if y'all remember that. And then he also went to Japan right after this, working at FMW. It looks like he worked. Man, they were working the fuck out of him over there. Like every couple of days, he had a match. But he was only in Memphis for, it looks like, he worked Monday night, which I'll give the result later. He worked Jonesboro, that one show, and then he worked the Monday night after Jonesboro, Saturday night, Monday night after Jonesboro, and that was it. He was gone. He was out of here. So
you know what that means. He got his first week's paycheck. And he was back to Florida, I bet.
He worked the Pipkins building. Yeah. He just he worked Tom Pritchard both times in the Pipkin building, and then worked Master Blaster, who we was one of the Godwins. It was Canterbury, right? Yeah, that was the Master Blaster. He worked him in Jonesboro. But yeah, he had a career. I looked at him. But he didn't have a career in Memphis. Just put it that way. So. And Miss Texas made me feel uncomfortable calling him boy like 3 times. Boy. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like maybe Tojo was supposed to lean into that and he didn't. So Miss Texas did it for him, like you said. And it feels weird for Miss Texas, but it didn't have the same effect as it would have been if Tojo, I'll tell you, boy. Anyway, let's move away from that pretty quick.
I think that was double racist there with the
if any race that's not white insults another race, is that racist, or can they just all do it amongst? I think that question.
I don't know.
I'll strike that from the record right now. Anyway, let's go to. We're going to actually watch. We got so. By the way, BT did the clips for us this week. Thank you very much, BT.
Yes.
I was still under the weather yesterday. So we've got the entire first fall, and so I think we're just going to watch it instead of sitting here in silence and watching it while turn the mics back on and we can talk over it.
Matches, and here they are as part of tag teams today. Let's see if those two tie it up during.
Oh, I muted it completely. There we go. Look how small Brian Christopher is on this.
Oh, yeah.
He hadn't increased his vitamin regimen yet.
That's right. Him and Jack Diamond hadn't talked to each other. What kind of tights are those? Jesus Christ, Eddie.
That's some Hawaiian-inspired tights. I like it.
Did your grandma make that
stuff? I don't know, but she did make Eddie some shit during 91. I know that for sure.
And Brian's got those tights on that Jeff had some just like that. Good match, too. Everything's just like, these poor guys. Brian's very young here, but these poor guys, I'm a huge fan all the time of these four guys and just how good they are understanding what they should do and everything.
I recently saw an old shoot interview with Brian, and he was talking about how small he was when he started out, but he's like, I didn't really think much of it because I wasn't any smaller than Jeff Jarrett was when he started out. He said, and in fact, when Jeff started getting so big, he said, I pulled Jeff aside and was like, hey, man, what do I need to do to get big like you? And he's like, I've just been working out, and was like naming like these supplements he took. And Brian's like, yeah, okay, Jeff. All right, man. So he completely kayfabed him.
Beautiful drop kick. Jeez.
Do you reckon those flower tights have the same effect as the King's flower tights?
I don't know.
They just supercharge him?
I don't know. He seems pretty fired up today, so they may.
Kind of similar to the Zubaz effect, as we saw in 93.
Brian's looks just like, now Tom and... I would have liked to seen a lot more stuff with Eddie and Brian.
Yeah. And Eddie talked about in that promo earlier, that, he respected his dad, and he was a fan of his dad, but he really patterned himself after Jerry Lawler. And I feel like if you watch Brian, and I know you, BT, you've made this point several times, you watch Brian, he's obviously a big fan of his dad, but I think he patterned his ring work much after Eddie Gilbert.
Stuff like that. Eddie's doing a little bit. Eddie also does something on his tippy toes a couple times, and Brian stole that, and Dustin Starr ended up stealing it from Brian. So Eddie Gilbert's influences went, a long way. So listen to it. Looking as good in the ring today. He's looking at Eddie Gilbert now.
Well, this is the beginning of the end for Tony Williams here. Once Brian starts breaking away, he's pretty much going to be stuck in enhancement
until he goes Power Pro.
Until Kid Wicked.
And Randy gives him a push.
I think Kid Wicked sounds great on you. It looks good. You're great. You're Kid and you're Wicked.
That's how I came up with it. And the sad thing is, Tony was strictly a victim of his height. Because you couldn't take it. There ain't no steroids in the world to make you taller. And even in Memphis, you can't overcome.
Hey, that's what this one son of a bitch was saying in a shooter review. He said at one point John Studd was like 6'5" or some shit.
Yeah.
And he took so much that he grew to be 6'10". So.
Oh, God. I'm glad a lot of people didn't hear that because there'd have been some people doubling down like, all right, let's do this.
I tell you what, though, they got those surgeries now, dude. It's in the U.S. It was in China exclusively for a long time, but they got those limb lengthening surgeries. Yep. Tony Williams could be 6 foot tall.
He might make a comeback then.
I thought it. You know what they said backstage. You're taking the heat, kid. You know it, don't you?
It's like, yeah, I assume so.
Because all these three guys are big veterans already. They got a lot of matches under their belts compared to Brian.
And something else he said in that interview, Brian said that he never, because the guy Feinstein asked him, he's like, "Who trained you?" He's like, "I just never trained. I never trained with anybody." He said the first wrestling match I ever had was in front of a crowd because I got basically dared. He was standing behind the curtain with him and Tony were backyarders going, "Man, we can put on a better match than that." And the guy said, "Really? Go out there and do it." And according to Brian, now Brian could be a bit of a bullshitter at times, but according to Brian, they went out there and tore the house down in their first ever match in front of a crowd.
They worked.
It's a shame we won't ever cover the Twilight Zone days of.
Yeah. Kevin told the same thing that he never was officially trained. He just got in there and worked until he got better. So, and Kevin worked a lot more than I ever thought. I didn't know he was on all those outlaw shows, but Bill Rush was like, I worked him a bunch of times. I'm like, I just knew the Memphis TV, but he worked a Yellow Jacket everywhere. Had that little, he got those muscles from a costume shop. And he put a muscle suit on and then put the tights and everything over the muscles.
I had my suspicions that was like, some kind of foam muscles or something. Well, I remember watching it with some friends, and somebody backed him in the corner and chopped him, and it sounded like he chopped a pillow. I'm like, oh, okay, it's official.
Yeah, he said it was the easier way to do that than what Brian did. Hot tag! We had a double down and a hot tag.
He even got the leap in there.
Yeah, perfect psychology, y'all. Just perfect. Dang. I love this shit, y'all. Just love it. Gilbert has some of the best punches ever. Well, Tony Anthony did too, but all these guys are so good, man. Just so good.
Oh, shit.
These
every time they wiped out the last day, he's like, God damn it. Oh, that had to suck, dude. Oh, God damn.
The referee has counted them both out for fighting on the floor, and they're still fighting on the floor.
Oh.
Tony Anthony, Eddie Gilbert. Going at it down here.
Love this. I know we
Ain't
get
nobody
quiet
say they
while
didn't have
we're
a
watching this.
believable brawl at the end of this thing, because, man, they were laying this shit in. All of them are.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, big time.
God, he's got the cord around his neck.
And Michael St. John says, that's my cord. He wants everybody to know that that's his cord.
I tell you. All right, looks like Paul has got him separate.
All right, so though there was the first fall of the main event. Of course, we would go do a couple of other things, circle back around to the second fall, which, I mean, that just went right into just an outright brawl from the get-go. So I guess right now we can take our podcast commercial break, and when we come back, we'll run down the card and see what you guys think of everything.
Tired of the same boring wrestling podcast? Need something with attitude, chaos, and maybe just a little cussing? That's stspod.club, and we got it all covered. We've got wrestling weirdness with WTF News Desk, 5-minute time limit, and the southern fried brain of me, BT, steering the whole ship. We also have rolling into Memphis every week about the current Memphis wrestling. Interviews, hot takes, and wrestling outrageousness so wild it might get you banned in 12 states. That's right, it's SDSpod.club, or search all podcast catchers for Shooting the Shiznit, where wrestling podcasts grow chest hair. Not sure what that meant. Love my mama.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Jimmy Street and the Plastic Sheik, Jared, are the undisputed tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise. This team does it all, and all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling! Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey guys, Ray Russell here. Lots of new stuff happening here at WrestleCopia. If you haven't checked out our website at WrestleCopia.com, it's a great way to keep up with the latest episodes of all of your favorite Copia programming, from the Wrestling Memory Grenade to Regional Wrestling with the Territory Talk, the Wrestling Stoop with the legendary Bob Roop, and of course all of those programs also available at your favorite podcast streaming platforms. And if you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the Copia world, all the latest news, random thoughts, fun videos, pictures, and more, make sure to join the more than 33,000 followers over at Facebook.com/Wrestling Grenade. Don't be left out. And last but definitely not least, it's what keeps the entire machine going. I'm talking about Patreon.com/WrestleCopia. We appreciate your support in helping us pay the bills to keep the WrestleCopia Podcast Network running and enabling us to continue to bring you all the quality programming that we offer.
All right, well, let's take a look at the card for Monday night and see what everything on the show was building up to.
Opening card. Again, it's at 7:30. Parking is free at the Pipkin Building at the Fairgrounds. World Light Heavyweight title on the line. Chris Candido coming into the USWA to try to take that belt away from the champion Nightmare Danny Davis. Following that, a match in which the little people are going to be back. Karate Kid will be going against Little Tokyo. Then, oh boy, get ready for this one. Miss Texas will be going against Miss Brandywine.
Sweet Georgia Brown, of course, has the self-proclaimed Miss Texas, is a tough customer. And Brandywine, I understand, is a fine young lady wrestler, so this should be quite a match at the Pipkin Building Monday night.
They'll be going at it. Then following that, boy, get ready for this one. Hurricane Walker, as I've said, we're going to have him. He's here today. We are going to have him in action a little bit later on. Maybe get a few words from him, too. Dr. Tom Pritchard will be going against him. And I don't know, Pritchard, I hope he's close to a monitor or a television set and gets a chance to take a look at Hurricane Walker. Pritchard will have Ms. Texas in his corner over there. There's a factor right there. But Dr. Tom goes against Hurricane Walker Monday night. Then a return grudge match. And this one, not going to be any stopping it just because somebody is bleeding. Dirty White Boy will be going against Eddie Gilbert. Hot stuff against the Dirty White Boy. These two former partners will be still going at it again like it got started a couple of weeks ago, and they'll be facing each other in this return grudge match Monday.
That's a war in itself, Dave Brown, without a doubt. Dirty White Boy and Eddie Gilbert having their differences these days.
World Tag Team titles are going to be on the line. The brand new champions, Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller, defending those belts against, wouldn't you know it, another Texas team, the Texas Outlaws.
Mass team coming into the area. That's, what can you say? I mean, exactly just like you said it. Here we go with another Texas team, the Outlaws. But Jarrett and Fuller, what a team they've become. And they've already captured the belts.
That's right, and going to be trying to hang on to them. By the way, the Outlaws are around here today, too. I don't know if we have time, we'll have time to talk to them or not. In a way, I kind of hope we don't. But the Outlaws going against Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller. Then, main event of the night, the Southern Heavyweight title is on the line. Bill Dundee goes against Eric Embry with Tojo Yamamoto. But remember, there's a lot more to it than just that. The title has been held up. The loser of this match will not be able to wrestle in the USWA for 30 days, and there must be a winner of the match. Controversial ending last time around. Bill Dundee had his hand raised, but Eric Embry is the one who actually won the match. The dispute, we saw the results of the meeting in Eddie Marlin's office, and that is going to be the match which results.
All right, there's the card. So let's go over your thoughts on this week's show. Guys, what was your least favorite part? Maybe anticlimactic for at least a couple of you. Least favorite part of this week's show?
I've got to say Hurricane Walker. I mean, like I said, the promo video was good because I was like, man, Jimmy Backlund was fucking awesome. And, but whenever he came out and wrestled, that's the whole, and then the match happened, he came out and he was more like Slurricane. He was very slow and just real sluggish in his movements. It just looked like, I don't know, like some guys say, looked like he had a stick up his ass or something. He just kind of wrestled non-fluidly.
But those legs, damn, those legs.
He had some thick legs for sure, for what that's worth. But God, his work was atrocious.
Well, my least favorite's not going to surprise Eugene. It's that meeting. Good God, the description of the finish, the controversial ending, and all that. Absolutely hated it. The only thing that was saved it was that Dundee was being racist. But other than that, I thought it was horrible.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that as well. That was my, not so much just the segment itself, just what it represented and the story that's behind it. What was your most favorite part of this week's show?
It'd have to be that interview segment. It gave a peep into Eddie Marlin's office. Hell of a fucking desk table, right? See-through with some Roman type legs on it. Looked like it was big money, big money. I highly think that was probably Jerry Jarrett's meeting room or something in his house, and you got to see Paul Neighbors in a blazer. First time for that.
He like something out of a mafia movie.
Didn't you take my shirt off?
Yeah. Like he was
put a suit on this time if you're going to be Paul Neighbors.
All
shirt off.
All business Paul Neighbors. And, like I said, I know, like, it was obviously going against the whole good guy, bad guy thing. But, like I said, it's not the first time that Tennessee's done some deliberate heel shit. And it's basically told them, you got to fucking deal with it. And this is the decision. But, they kind of leaned into it. And like you said, it felt like it was at least 10 minutes long when it wasn't. But as far as, just the whole chaos, and Bill Dundee was hilarious in that. He was so, and like you said, I was going to say this after, but you had said it already. Bill wanted to say something so bad. That's why you got that Jap and that whatever you want to call her.
Yeah, we might have to put that clip on your USWA Universe or the USWA show Facebook. I think people would enjoy that. If you've ever been backstage with Dundee, you'll enjoy that even more. So there you go.
I think something good you pointed out there, Josh. If there had been like a wink and nod to the fans, like, hey, this is Tennessee fucking over the Texas guys. We're getting our revenge. And you felt like you were in on something, I think that could have changed the whole dynamic. But instead, they just looked inept. But hey, this is what I love about the show, that we don't. If it was all three of us just agreeing on everything every time, there would be no point to this. So
I was just fixing to say, I love Josh.
I'm happy that you have a different opinion and that you're more than happy to voice it. That's awesome. That's what makes the show interesting. That's what makes the show fun. And we've got listeners out there right now that some are agreeing with you and some are agreeing with us. Some have a whole different opinion altogether. And if you do, please send those to us. We will talk about them here on the show.
And you know what's great about the whole thing? I don't have to like publicly denounce you and tell what a piece of shit you are and block you and all that because we disagree on that.
People do that, Josh?
Yeah, I heard of something like that.
Oh,
it happens from time to time, usually to me and BT.
Oh, well, we are cunts, so that happens. So, or they're cunts. How about that? Dirty White Boy and Dr. Tom against Eddie Gilbert and Brian Christopher was my favorite part of the show. I loved the whole being able to see the young Brian Christopher with Eddie. And like I said, a big mark for all four of those guys. I love the match. The both falls. Like you said, it was just chaos in the last fall. Good to see so much talent in the ring at the same time, and just fun for me. So,
for me, I'm gonna go with the Eddie Gilbert promo just because I've spent so much time digging into Eddie Gilbert's life again this past year, working on the book with Doug, and then when I did it 15 years ago the first time. To me, that's probably the closest you're ever going to see to the real guy behind hot stuff on television. That he really tells his true story, so to speak. And I think that one promo could probably do more to connect him with the audience and make him a true babyface that they could have ran with. I mean, it's Memphis, it's Eddie Gilbert. It's probably not going to last a whole lot longer, if I had to guess. I don't know. I don't remember for sure, and he'll probably get mad and leave or something. I can't remember the timeline of all this. I know he goes to Global soon because he's going to be booking it. But I think this promo could be the genesis of him having a long run as a top babyface in Memphis, if behind the scenes he can get along with everybody he has to get along with. And unfortunately, it's just not an option. But that being said, would you guys buy a ticket to this week's show?
I think so. I mean, I for what it's worth, it didn't take long. And like we talked about last week's show, you can insert Bill Dundee in at whatever point, and he can build that excitement and make you think that, holy shit, this didn't take long, but it went from 1 to 10 really quick. And I believe both of these guys, true masters, man, Bill Dundee and Embry in the main event. And the thing is, like, I don't know if the way that it ended last week was just to extend it one more week and try to squeeze a little bit more Dundee juice out of it. Because I really feel
that's right, mate.
I may be proven wrong at the end of the show, but I really feel like this may be it for Dundee for at least 30 days. But we'll see. But yes, I'll have to go at least for that one match.
So let's talk about that for a minute before we go on. Sorry to cut you off.
That's all right, but I'm not going this week, so go ahead.
Where does this lead? So as you're sitting there as a fan, you're watching this on TV and you're pondering whether you're going to go Monday night, you're pondering what's going to happen. It's hard to call a winner here because, all right, we know Eric Embry's the booker. They don't know that, back then in 91, most folks don't. So you don't really see him leaving. But then again, we just teased that next week, Jamie Dundee's going to be here to talk about how he's rectified everything with his dad. So what's that even going to really matter if his dad's gone at that point? So, but Eric's the center of the whole Texas universe. So I think they really painted themselves in a corner booking this match in the first place. And now putting all this emphasis on the rematch where there must be a winner. Somebody's got to leave for 30 days. Title. One of them's got to go for 30 days this time. I don't think there's any way around that. I mean, I guess you could have like the masked kangaroo come back.
I'm dying over here, Gene. I know everything that happens.
That's part of the reason. Part of the reason I'm doing this is kind of testing you to see if what happens first. You spoil it, or your hat blows off your head from all the pressure building up. But without further ado, I'll throw it to the spoiler himself, Coach BT, Brian Tremmel. Let us know, how did this play out?
Real quick, I would not have went Monday night because I was not.
I forgot to finish that. Either would I. Yeah,
was not impressed with the Outlaws. No match on that show. Only match I really wanted to see was Anthony against Gilbert, and with them shitting on the finish last week, that would have pissed me off and probably pissed other people off. But real quick, I like to do. So the Friday night before the TV tapings that we just watched, we had Tom Pritchard, Jeff Jarrett, Rob Fuller, Tojo, Miss Texas. All those folks were in Dallas Friday night in front of 230 fans. They got on that bus and rode back to Memphis to do the Memphis TV tapings. Also, the Texas Hangman went ahead and did that show. Something that Rob said that I thought was interesting, since we're talking about Texas, the Texas Sportatorium, he said that they never really knew, his little group of people didn't know that Jerry Jarrett was involved at all. And they really did not like the Memphis guys because they work so light. And I think me and Gene have done a couple of wasn't really that good Texas, and we talk about how tight the Texas guys worked. He said you could see right through it at the Sportatorium. Also, just for the hell of it, this day that this show aired, some guys got on the plane, and Eddie Gilbert was one of them, and he wrestled Cactus Jack in a barbed wire match for Joe Goodhart. Also on that card, Jerry Lawler kept his USWA title, beating Honky Tonk Man. And also Al Perez and Buddy Landell beat the Fabulous Ones with Jim Cornette. So that was a busy time right there. And he drew a $22,000 house. 1,200 people Goodhart did that night. And then Monday night, we had, I was wrong, because people came out to see this. 825 fans, which is about 75 more than they've been drawing. We had Karate Kid beat Little Tokyo. Miss Texas beat Brandy Wine. Brandy Wine is Ken Wayne's wife. Hurricane Walker beat Tom Pritchard. Tony Anthony beat Eddie Gilbert. VIDQ for throwing fire. So Eddie threw the fire. Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller kept the USWA titles, beating the Texas Outlaws. No, they don't get any heat whatsoever. And Embry pinned Dundee in the loserly town match for the Southern title. Embry won the match when Miss Texas hit Dundee with the Texas flag, and he was pinned 1, 2, 3.
But the important question is, BT, the pinfall doesn't matter. Who got their hand raised?
Well, Embry got his hand raised on this one,
okay.
But I'm not going to talk about next week's show yet, but this is not over. Let me just say, it is not over, folks. If you look ahead and you watch next week's show, you want to talk about it before we start recording. Remember, we record on Sundays. You can reach out to me or Gene if you got any comments about that stipulation and what happened in the end. It's interesting. We talked about this ever since we started, how great we really like Eric Embry's booking, and this has been a great year. And man, I can just hear the brakes. Oh my God, what just happened, kind of thing. So yeah.
And to think of how far wrestling in Dallas has fallen. I mean, the great
Oh,
world-class promotion, the thousands of people they used to pack in the stadiums.
230.
They used to sell out the Sportatorium every weekend. And then Joel Goodhart up in Philadelphia runs a little independent show and outdraws them by nearly 1,000 people.
Yep.
It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, and they're not seeing any gate. I mean, what, they're doing $5 and $4 maybe? $5 for a general admission, and maybe a little bit more there at front row, but you're not. I mean, that place was packed all the time until during this period it was going down bad. And as Rob had told us, we get what Global comes in right after this in June. So
yeah. And we'll talk a little bit about that when that happens on here. I mean, I know it doesn't necessarily tie into USWA Memphis. We won't spend a lot of time on it, but we'll talk a little bit about it because it does involve Jerry Jarrett and a transfer of the TV syndication and the ESPN deal and everything that he had through Dallas. But for now, that wraps up everything for this week's episode, that being the 80th episode of the Retro Wrestling Review. Thank you all for have been along for the whole ride, and for everybody who's just recently joined in, and that's quite a few people have reached out to me and said, hey, I just recently discovered the podcast. And I've had at least 2 people reach out and say, hey, I just discovered the podcast, but I can't find 92. Well, that's because we started with 93, went back to 91, and we're working our way back through. So 92 hasn't been done yet. I know that's strange. We're mocking people for convoluted storylines, and we're doing this show in a convoluted way, but we're just good like that, I guess. But now's that point of the show where we ask Brian what is going on this week at stspod.club.
Oh, see, we do Shiznit Minute every day. Go to stspod.club. We talk about the current wrestling scene. We had some thoughts on War Games from last night on there this morning. Episode 1007 was rolling into Memphis 249. This coming week, episode 1008, Gene and I will sit down and do WTF. That's all that's going on. And next week, though, I hinted at this, but it is the 250th episode of Memphis Wrestling, and it features the King, and everyone that was involved with Memphis Wrestling is really shocked. The hell did freeze over apparently because Jerry didn't want anything to do with this incarnation of Memphis Wrestling, and he spent a good time with it. I've seen some videos and some stuff from back behind the scenes, but I have not seen what they do with him. But episode 250, that's quite an accomplishment. I think good milestone.
Absolutely. And what happened this week on P3 Radio? Josh, by way of BT.
Good episode. Another 4 out of 5 hoots. Remember, it's the podcast always talks about videos but never gives you the links. Episode 434 is Get a Handle on It. They were recording this during Black Friday, but they had the lights on, I think. Right, Josh? They had the lights
Absolutely.
on.
You can't trust him in the dark.
Richard is so scared he'll get fired by anything that he says. I just crack up. Not that people don't get fired because of podcasts, because I have a friend that's lost 3 jobs because of what he said on podcast. They talked about people dying on Black Friday, which we used to see a lot of that. You'd see people. I saw a bunch of stores online this year that looked like there was tumbleweeds in them. People said, fuck that, I'm not going. Richard lost. I want to get this. I want Gene to understand this part of it. But he lost muscle mass when he had a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
So
in one knee, he lost muscle mass.
Yeah. Richard's foot's so wide he can't buy cool shoes.
You don't go away too far yet. This motherfucker was like presenting himself as like Shaq when he goes to the goddamn boot barn or wherever the fuck. He's like, I wear quadruple E and I can only get like these super plain shoes, nothing cool, but Nike makes them. I was like, yeah, Nike Dad Force Ones, and he did say anything dubbed cool makes his feet feel like he's wearing ice skates.
All I could think of was he went in there and bought clown shoes. You know how clown shoes are
Super
real
wide,
big?
yeah.
Josh got caught one time putting on makeup, and his grandpa said that's okay.
No.
Richard jacked. Yeah, that's what happened. Richard jacked off to health class videos when he was a kid. He always makes fun of holistic medicine because, well, mainly Richard makes fun of stuff that he doesn't understand. But he does understand that WT-40 is the cure for everything. I agree. Josh's dad's been ordering eye drops, and one of the special ingredients is cayenne pepper. Not sure that's helping him. Richard's mom, he's got a couple of phone calls from his mom to help with the TV, and the plumbing's leaking. I thought that's hilarious. My mother does me the same way. Josh got mad at a mentally challenged cashier at Walmart and then felt bad about it. After the break,
I didn't go that far. I didn't lean into it that hard. I just knew it was wrong.
We always have a break with a song coming back and talking about the shirts. After the break, Richard sneezed, and then you could hear him suck up his snot. We were able to hear him sucking up his snot for the rest of the episode. I love that. There's some more. There's some more talk, and all of a sudden, Richard turns into the stock market expert. Then we get into some stories.
How come every week this is becoming more and more the fuck Richard episode or section of the show?
Jack Nicholson got a blowjob from a stalker. Hey, I had a stalker. I mean, what the hell, you know? Unemployed son impersonated his mother to get her checks for many years, right, Josh? He didn't do
complete with the wig, the whole 9 yards, makeup, total Mrs. Doubtfire type.
Yeah.
That's the way the Italian media presented it. Not Norman Bates, Mrs. Doubtfire type thing.
Yeah.
Only this was a piece of shit unemployed son mooching off of his dead mother.
For years. He did it for years. They had two stories to finish the show with a guy tried to kill his wife because she didn't get him a beer. I can't remember. Did he set her afar? He set her afar.
He led that bitch afar.
Did she die?
I don't think so.
I don't. And then they had a chicken egg number gunfight. A chicken. They're fighting about how many eggs a chicken gets. So, yeah, good stories, fun as usual. And God, I love that snot sucked up in his nose like that for the rest of the episode. That was a thrill. So, big thumbs up.
So, the better the more Richard's mental health improves, the more BT hates him. But when Richard's to give BT some credit though, when Richard Lee was down and out and at his worst, BT didn't kick him while he was down. He tried to bring him up like a good pimp does to a hope.
Did, man. I sent him text messages. I had my own mental health problems. Had a shitty day yesterday, so there you go. Every once in a while, just the med. I think that what's happening is the people putting meds in those pills. You know, they're sitting there pushing a button, and then somebody goes, "Hey, Randy," and Randy goes, "What?" And he just don't get the medicine in the pill. And for some reason, I seem to get one of those every week. But yeah, a fun episode. You know, I love you guys.
USWApodcast.com is where you can find all the links and everything related to this podcast. Check out the YouTube over at youtube.com/@retro wrestling archive. You can also check out BT's Patreon. This made me so happy when I saw this. I've been asking BT each week. I pitched to him and go, "Hey, what's your Patreon?" He had no idea. And this week he said, "Hey, I put it up in the banners." And his Patreon was patreon.com/shootingtheshiznit. That's what was so hard to remember. You can also check out this Patreon at patreon.com/retro wrestling archive. And check out the Substack, substack.com/retro wrestling archive. Leave out the ad if you're looking at the video. I got to correct that. And you can get a copy of the Wolfie D book at the now lowered price of $17.99 over at tinyurl.com/Wolfie D book. Anything else you guys want to cover before we go off the air?
I'm good, Gene.
All right, Gene, just remember, if you said you never shit your pants, you're a fucking liar. Love my mama.
Man, I bet she loves having those two sentences pushed together at the end of the show.
She don't care. She's hilarious.
And let me tell you who's not a piece of shit, Gene. That's Michael St. John.
Them big old legs.